Fucking the UBTV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Neon nigga for feather me in. Today I'm gonna be talking about causing mass destruction and harm while projecting it outwardly creates a first class ticket to hell. Now, just in general, because motherfuckers like to get lost into the words I'm saying when I'm gonna make up a whole bunch of different parables and allegories and examples so you can understand what I mean on a broader scale. And that's all the way down to people who like to cause wars and things of that nature, inciting it and not wanting to take that responsibility, or taking, you know what I'm saying, start taking certain energy too far when it comes to certain things. And it's not to say people ain't gonna always be in agreement, or, you know what I'm saying, being able to go about things in a better circumstance, or they feel like they need to get that revenge or that get back based upon, you know what I'm saying, like it's a lot of different scenarios based upon people being on that timing of how that can go. But it's just us trying to broaden our horizons and get to a better perspective to where we can find other ways to do that, to where other people don't got to get harmed, like physical death and stuff like that. Try to do that when it comes to the mind, you know what I'm saying, mentally, who's more fit or who's more superior when it comes to what they can create for themselves based upon their culture, based upon the space that they're in, based upon their creativity and things of that nature. When you start fighting more of that fight on a, oh yeah, we rivals, but we find it in the mind. We find it more spiritually. We find it over intellectual property and things of that nature. It's gonna lead to more energies of, hey, we fought, but we was able to live another day. Not the energies of acting like a degenerate and you and everybody gotta die because, you know what I'm saying, like you and everyone gotta die because y'all ain't getting with the way how we want to go about things. And you got to get in that kill, die, plunder, conquer type of mentality for the most part, to where you feel like, well, I'm gonna just take over y'all whole shit in the physical, and then from you doing in the physical and projecting that outwardly, you emanating that outwardly, you acting out that emission, you think that nothing is happening to you when really you just self-projecting based upon what you lack, instead of you minding your business and trying to create a circumstance to where you don't even have to deal with those people in general, so they can do their thing and you can do your thing, but it don't have to turn into a big ass Clash of Clans sedation war time plot for that, for a whole bunch of different decades, and create a new World War III type shit. But just in general, right? Mass destruction means causing death and widespread damage on a huge scale, which describes a single device or system that can kill thousands and millions of people and wreck entire cities or regions. Now, you know, I'm mad spiritual. So it's kind of like you have to look at it from the mind first. So we create different states and cities, spiritually speaking. So it's just the state of being that you in, or the state of awareness. So we have thoughts and feelings. Adam would be like the men, and then woman would be like the Eves. So you already be manifesting these things. You're festering it between the two men, the Adam and the Eves, the thoughts and the feelings, and those seeds. So look at those thoughts and feelings as the people who are ruling the nation inside your civilization based upon the state of being that you in for the most part. And you're trying to cultivate that. So from you self-projecting that on a high percentage scale, because it's a spirit, mind, body, external world concept, you already doing that within the mind first. And you're an organ, I mean, you're a walking organism that has different organ functions, and that's just your organization. And if you can't organize it right, it's going to be making it so certain parts of your organs ain't going to function properly, and you can't create a new organ, or you can't create some circumstance to make it so it can be fluid, and you basically creating like blood clots for yourself. Like, I know it's getting like, I know it's like really spiritual, and motherfuckers don't look at it that way, and they look at it like pseudo, or it's not based upon some type of scientific methodology and stuff like that, based upon a pharmaceutical pill or whatever, or some type of surgery. But that's what you creating for yourself, spiritually speaking, and it reaches into the mind, because it's the spirit creating the mind, and in the mind, the light body creating your physical body. And then there's going to be representation of what look like good health, spiritually speaking, mentally and emotionally. Then it leads to the physical. So you going through that mental exercise, which leads to you wanting to do actual exercise, you exercising and executing your actual actions from what you want to do based upon your dreams, your imagination, your visions, and how that's helping you on a broader, I mean, on a higher percentage scale than it hurting you. So that's why it's important to always put yourself in those circumstances to where you're being more proactive than reactive. And if you're being reactive, is you being reactive about what you're already being proactive about. So look at the masculine energy, or the man-like energy, is being creative and robust and being built and muscular for something, being cocky and things of that nature. And then the feminine energy is like receiving something or creating a womb, making a container, receiving something, having some type of responsibility, that motherly energy. So nurturing, taking care of something and holding on to it long enough until it becomes something that's actually solidified and substantiated. But it has to start from the first seed of creating it, and you not trying to make it contain into a specific shape and form. You're just creating a whole bunch of different seeds and planting them everywhere to see which one's going to get cultivated the best, and then you end up making your esoteric garden of Eden. Now, once someone tries to, because all this kind of leads to the energies of spiritual evaporation, you end up crashing and burning yourself out, especially when it comes to one of your organs, based upon you self-projecting that energy too much. Of you don't know how to naturally deal with your internal energies, so you end up self-projecting that, and that turns into energies you're like, oh yeah, you gotta die, oh I gotta get my revenge, oh I gotta kill, oh I gotta cause destruction. But that's you causing destruction internally first, because you don't know how to deal with all that energy you done pent up and built up and stuff like that. It's like emotional baggage. It's like different traumas, right? And from you going through those different shocks, mental shocks, you end up making yourself stopped up in the mind, which is going to make your physical body stopped up and stuff like that, because you're not being free flowing. You're not being movable. You're being immobile. You staying stuck on one thing. So it's like a motherfucker who like grabbing at low hanging fruit, or a motherfucker who at petty for the most part on a higher percentage scale. That's more self-sabotaging, and you really don't know how to mind your business, because you have no business to mind. You can't create a circumstance to where you don't have to worry about that, and it's going to lead to you being more productive of trying to cultivate a better ability of how to see and feel about it. It's like those motherfuckers who get caught up going through a bad scenario, and then their whole life is based upon that bad scenario that they went through, and they can't create another way of, they can't create another lifestyle. They can't create another angle so they can get over it. You know what I'm saying? So that's like them clipping their wings. They don't know how to fly over the situation and let that thing just be something that was monetary. You went through that mistake, but you end up learning from it. You went through, so the minute you start going through that process and you don't know how to learn from that mistake, you let that mistake define your whole character because you don't know how to move past it. But then you end up making that ego and over exaggerating it to make it seem like some victim blaming type of energy, to where, oh, the only reason you're in that circumstance is because of this person and that person, and if a motherfucker were to listen to me in this particular way, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know how to let the shit go and process it in the right way, because only you gonna dictate where you're gonna go. And if you keep on holding on to that, it's just gonna make it harder for you to move past the situation so you can create a better circumstance for yourself, so to speak. So anyone who is in that degenerate type of energy, they don't know how to generate another way of how to go about it. All it leads to is you causing mass destruction or death and damage and harm to yourself on a high percentage scale. So it just leads to your mind being fucked up, you having like a mental illness or a mental disorder because you can't get your mind right, you can't get your mind together, and then it leads to circumstances, now your organs end up being fucked up. And then it being an external representation of that don't look moral, that don't look like something of good character, that don't look healthy for you to do, that looks like toxic behavior, so to speak. We make up a whole bunch of different words to make it make sense, but y'all get what I'm saying. So it's like you killing or shooting down an idea of a better way of how to go about something before it even start. You know what I'm saying? You already go into it thinking it's not going to work because you ain't get that validation, or you ain't get that praise, or it's not going as fast as you probably thought it was going to go based upon the expectation. And when you get lost into the devil of the details of shit, you get lost into anticipation and expectation, and God is just all possibilities. So as you just created a circumstance to where you're going to do something for God, you're doing it just because you love the ability of you being able to do it in the first place. And it don't matter if it's going for you or against you, you're going to end up going through it. So it don't matter what you're going through, you're still going to keep on being on that spiritual mission of trying to create a broader space or a broader ability based upon what you're trying to cultivate for yourself. So once you get caught up in a dichotomy, that's when it leads to energies of it's not meeting my expectations or something. And then it's going to lead to you not acting natural. You're going to try to force a situation to try to go in your favor. And it's going to lead to that cold-blooded, cold, dead, distant, cutthroat type of mentality. And they champion that. when it comes to different industries, when it comes to, religion and entertainment and politics, they champion that type of energy, but it's really just you self-projecting, you not learning how to warm up to a better idea about something. So from you not learning how to have a natural way of how to get it, you being that energy vampire, parasite, taker type of energy, well then no one gonna get it then, because I can't even get grace or have it as easier as somebody else. So I gotta be in that crab in the barrel mentality and try to pluck at someone else's fruit, or try to throw rocks that I think is a glass building that's not a glass building, or dump my trash on someone else's lawn, esoterically speaking, because I don't know how to deal with my own trash. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You just a bitch ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like you just a trash individual. You don't know how to, you know what I'm saying, fly over the situation or create a better circumstance to where you don't have to do that. You gonna clean up your own shit for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It's like clearing a room, so to speak. So in general, these are just different devices that can cause atomic reactions. And don't get lost into atoms, like how y'all look at it when it comes to hydrogen and different chemicals and things of that nature, because again, these are things within the mind. So when they make up things like atom and atom bombs and stuff like that, and different terminologies based upon science, for them to make like nuclear reactors and stuff like that, like how we have when it comes to these mass these weapons of mass destruction and stuff like that, right? They get y'all lost into that on a higher percentage scale. So look at that as like us going to war with other countries, and then they like, oh shit, they got weapons of mass destruction and stuff like that. These just got nuclear reactors. They got atomic bombs because of this, that, and the third. But that lets you know atomically, because it's it's gonna go into a whole different thing, because then it's gonna start going to the biology and stuff like that, and how we have different cells and bacteria and organisms within us. And that on a higher percentage scale, they just make some external tool based upon that, but it's based upon that small seed, and letting that seed to grow to make it so we can create something like that in the physical. So it's kind of like from them using those devices, they'll look at it like, well, you don't want no smoke with this country because they got weapons of mass destruction, without realizing they're causing mass destruction to themselves from even feeling the need to make something like that to defend themselves on a high percentage scale. You know what I'm saying? So the more you try to entice that, all you doing is just gonna end up, all you doing is causing mass destruction, and you're gonna end up spiritually evaporating yourself. Y'all be looking at karma in a way of, oh, if something happens to somebody in the external world, you already got, God don't have no bias. So you already got something taken away from you based upon you abusing it, or you going too far with something, and you not willing to wash that blood off your hands, and not willing to take accountability for what you bore, or what you created for yourself to cause all that harm. So we know the general quality when we see it. We know a demon when we see it. We see motherfuckers who act like snakes, they act wicked and treacherous on a high percentage scale and stuff like that. All they doing is crashing themselves out, because they're getting lost into a sin, or getting lost into a dichotomy, when everything is a mechanism in a transition. And once you get lost in translation, and then and things of that nature, so you think things is always gonna go in your way based upon you trying to feed into an ego, you end up crashing out or getting lost into your own light. Too much light can end up blinding you. So even if you have a lot of knowledge or enlightenment, too much light can blind you. So once you get, so that's why it's important. That's why sometimes it's good for you not to be aware of shit. It's like that ignorance is bliss type of thing, because it's gonna cause you to get lost into that one particular thing, because now you're aware about it, so it's kind of going to stop you up. So now you got to worry about this. Sometimes it's good to just ignore it, or not react, or not worry about it, so it can make you more productive for other things, so to speak, because it's going to end up clouding your judgment, because since you're aware of certain things that come with you taking certain risk, that whole thing that you're trying to accomplish in the first place probably never would have got done, because you're worrying about something in the back of your mind based upon some you know what I'm saying? It's like you know how, like, when you gain an awareness about something, and the minute you gain that awareness, it kind of stop you from acting out in certain energies, because now you're aware of something that could be a risk, or something that you're in fear about, or something that's going to cause more anxiety, so now you don't want to act in a certain way. It's basically kind of like that. It's gonna end up stopping you from acting out in an energy that you naturally or purely wanted to do, but now you gotta worry about that because now your grandparents watching or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you already know when you're around your friends and when you're around your friends and stuff like that, you act in a certain way. But then now that your family watching, you ain't gonna act the same way how you act around your friends. Even though when you're around your friends, that's you being yourself. But now that your family watching, now you have to take it into account. Well, my family watching, and I act a certain way around them, and then around my friends, I also act a certain way. And then the way how I act, my family probably not even gonna approve how I act around when I'm around my friends and stuff like that. They probably gonna look at me like I'm weird because of this, that, and the third, and that's gonna start a whole thing. And then I'm in school, in high school, and I'm trying to figure myself out, but they don't know beyond just them watching me. I'm trying to figure myself out when they're not watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like it go deep. Like, y'all get what the fuck I'm trying to say though. So it ends up stopping you from acting out in certain energies of what you genuinely want to do because you worrying about that in the back of your mind. When you really shouldn't be worrying about that. You should just go do the thing and then learn from experience if you fuck with that shit or not. You know what I'm saying? Because you got enticed by it in the first place. So you want to experience it. You want to do it. But you don't want to take the backlash or the judgment or how motherfuckers are looking at you based upon your family values and how they look at shit and how they was raised. That's like you not being religious and you're a really spiritual person, but because they're religious and you're going against their religion in some way, shape, or form based upon you trying to understand your own spiritual nature, they're going to look at you weird because you're going against the Bible, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make an example to make it make sense. Like, but it's in general, yeah, these are just devices, tools, and technology that are used to create atomic reactions. And it's not based upon just how y'all look at atoms when you in science class and stuff like that. It's just you taking a small seed of something and then you blowing it up. You get a lot of attention from how it's being seen and then people being attracted or drawn towards it. So the reaction based upon how you was able to blow up that seed and how far you wanted to go with that. Is it going to be a big ass tree that's gonna create high hanging fruit that's eternal and everlasting, or that's gonna be way more juicier and enticing, or is it gonna be low hanging fruit that's easy to pick at, that's only monetary and temporary, so to speak? So all the way down to when they create shit like nuclear bombs and nuclear reactors is based upon a nucleus or like an atom. The atom is just the source or the seed. So the same way how I was saying before, like Adam and Eve's and stuff like that, Adam was just like the first man. So it's the first thought. So it's the first attention span, the first awareness, the first creation. And then yeah, it's the first creation. So you have to project it. It's like externalizing something. And then feminine energy is internalizing something. It's holding on to something. And then masculine energy or man-like energy is just projecting something off. It's just externalizing something. So it's just that seed becoming uncontrollable. So like a nuclear reactor or like when motherfuckers make nuclear bombs and stuff like that is when they take a nucleus or an atom and it becomes uncontrollable. So it's you taking a seed and making it go the distance of whatever vision or emanation that you're actually trying to create so you can experience it. And then once you create that circumstance, it's eventually going to become bigger than yourself and it's going to be out of your control, so to speak. So it's the same way how I'm making these videos or whatever. And that's like me blowing up, right? So for me blowing up, right, I was able to create a nuclear reaction. I was able to mass a lot of attention on a broad scale and people are attracted or reacting to what I'm doing. And it's something beyond just myself. So it's bigger than me because there's so many people that are watching or so many people that are involved with my circumstances. And it's going to make it even more bigger and bigger the more people are going to get enticed by that shit, so to speak. So it's just you learning how to gas and blow something up, which causes intense heat, which is just intense passion and it being at a high temperament, like the spring and the summer, it being hot, arousing, spicy, enticing, flavorful, flavorful, or it's like when you season something, right? And when you season something, it's gonna make it more flavorful the same way how you put it on food is going to make it more enticing and delicious. It's going to make people want to keep on eating it. But yeah, it's like you being in a higher temperament, not low temperament like fall and winter, to where it's cold, dead, distant, inactive, and frozen and non-reactive, nonchalant. No, you're trying to be more lively. You're trying to be more sentient. You're trying to be more spontaneous. You're trying to be more relatable. You're trying to be more interactive. So from you bringing it to life and you being more creative is going to make people want to be more a part of it because people look at it as hot, spicy, and enticing. It's the same way how you look at a bad bitch and y'all be like, oh, she's hot, she's sexy. Yeah, she's sexually attractive, but you're doing that within the mind first. You're taking two or more different energies to create another energy, the masculine and the feminine, and you go through that budding period to where you end up creating it, and then you was able to create a lot of attraction based upon that awareness or the attention span. So you combining that together is going to create new knowledge. And then that new knowledge is going to cause enlightenment. That enlightenment is going to cause more experiences and observations and wisdoms and different ways of how to look at something. But you have to, if you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. If you can't keep on going despite the intensity or the depending on how hot you getting, so people being enticed or attracted to what you got going on, and you doing it at a high level. That's why it's high temperament. So if it's hot, you can really feel it. When it's more cold, dead and distant and stuff like that, that's like a motherfucker acting cutthroat or cold towards you. You gonna feel the energy of they not giving a fuck, or they're acting too detached, or they're ghosting you, compared to a motherfucker who's really passionate, or even when like they don't know how to control it and they come off really mad or angry and stuff like that. Yeah, but you feel that energy though strongly, like you strongly feel that energy of, oh, they mad as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. So from you emanating, creating, birthing, projecting, and externalizing expression, the atom energy, and you able to blow that up, is going to create that nuclear reaction in the spiritual realm. Now, when you utilize that for degenerate purposes, that's when it becomes toxic. The same way how y'all deal with, in reality, how y'all look at nuclear toxic waste. So it's going to be something more deadly, harmful, destructive, counterproductive, or suffocating, clouded, impure. But it's just you getting mixed up too much. You adding too much energy into something, and from you adding too much energy is going to create more weight. So it's going to make you more heavier as a spirit, not lighter as a spirit. And then your spirit is no shape and form based upon the spirit being your space. And it's just the state of awareness, state of being that you in, of what you're observing. Once you make it too impure and toxified, that's you adding too many different thoughts and feelings, too many different dichotomies, too many different biases. It becomes too clouded. You can't see things clearly. So it's going to be a lack thereof of you having clairvoyance, or you knowing what to do in the situation, and you being more indecisive because you getting clouded up by a whole bunch of different toxic, harmful, poisonous type of things, for the most part. So from it being deadly or disease ridden, it's going to easily just die out. And you're making yourself sick, unwell, unhealthy, or counterproductive and unhelpful. So that's when it leads to energies of, you can tell when a motherfucker doing something that's really unhealthy. Look at it like how y'all look at the 7 deadly sins. Too much of anything is a bad thing because you're adding on too many energies. And then we like to be light as a spirit, so to speak. So we don't want to have all that emotional baggage. But when you get lost into a dichotomy of one particular way of how to go about something, because the spirit is no shape and form, but we like to emanate, we like to create a shape and form, right? Once you get lost into that one shape and form, you only know how to create in that one pocket, but you don't know how to create in another angle in that pocket. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to fulfill yourself, and you end up not knowing how to be satisfied. And oh boy, it's gonna be a cold day in hell the minute you don't know how to be satisfied in something. You don't know how to be fulfilled. You don't know how to be fulfilled in what you got, and it's always gonna lead into that greedy, feeding type of energy. You feed into beast. You feed into that low degenerate nature and stuff like that. You keep on feeding more into situations, aka you not minding your business. So it's gonna lead to you creating an apocalypse, or you being you creating some type of mental illness. You acting sick in the mind. You acting unhealthy based upon you not being mentally fit in that situation. And that's not you know what I'm saying? It's going to cause more mental stress and a mental toll onto you, so to speak. And then you can see that when it comes to your physical reactions when it comes to stuff. So it just goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the whole karma thing. Y'all get lost into karma, or people reaping what they sow when it comes to things in the external world, when God already take things away from you. It's not just the external world. They probably going to take away or speed up the process when it comes to your organs. So you're going to look like you're older than what you actually is, because you're speeding up that process because you're holding on to too many different things. So you're not appreciating the life that you have. So you ain't trying to create life. You just, you get lost into life. You know what I'm saying? Or God end up taking away your ability to get your mind right because you don't know how to get your mind right. See, we free flowing. We have a free will. These are things you already doing to yourself. So anybody who want to cause mass destruction and harm and self-project that, it just creates a first-class ticket to hell. So it's just causing an apocalypse. It's just going to cause something that it's going to be like a tower moment or like a disastrous bad situation for everyone involved. So that's why they always be making them allegories of, oh, you going to hell, you going up burning in a fire because of this, that, and the third. All it means is they crashing out about something. So if they crashing out or them burning themselves out about something, you going through that eternal hell, that eternal damnation of you forever burning your own fire or whatever. That's you getting lost into your own light, like I was saying earlier in the video. You getting lost into your own fire, your own visions, your own visualizations, and your way of seeing and feeling about something, and then you end up crashing out. So it's too volatile. So look at it like you burning a bridge about something. You're not actually burning a bridge, but you're not doing something based upon genuineness or compassion. You're doing it based upon manipulation. So from you burning the bridge, you would rather be volatile and cause harm or not give a fuck about somebody. And from you being too overly angry or involved or intense about it, and you're willing to utilize that energy of crashing out or burning yourself out, you end up burning everybody involved, because that's like fire sign type of energy, like Aries and Sagittarius and Leos and stuff like that. Look at fire like you firing a gun. So if you firing, that's like you creating or emanating. You going for something. You shooting for something. Like when you shoot a gun, you bombarding something to blow something up based upon that gasoline that you pouring on it, so to speak. And that's when it leads to energies like gaslighting in the spiritual realm and stuff like that. But y'all get what I'm trying to say. So from you taking that first seed, right, of whatever vision that you have in that visualization, and how you see and feel about it, if you get so lost into that one way of seeing and feeling because it's not going based upon the expectation of how you see it in your mind, based upon intuition, based upon insight, you know what I'm saying? If it don't go how you envision it, you start projecting that vision outwardly onto other people, right? So it's going to cause a large disastrous fire, aka what y'all calling a hell. You end up going through hell to try to make that actually happen, because now you're enforcing it. You're forcing it onto other people to make people see it the way you see it, but you don't understand everyone is sentient and have their own way of how to go about stuff. Everyone has their own mind. Not everyone wants to crash out and do that all day. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's going to see how you see the world. But if you able to be a part of the world and make yourself relatable, despite the fact not everyone's going to see it the way how you see it, it's just going to make you stronger as a spirit, because you was able to go through certain things and you was able to cultivate something regardless of the validation or how it's seen or how it looks, so to speak. So once you start to burn the bridge or become too volatile of how you want someone to see and feel about what you're trying to create for yourself, based upon you trying to get attention or you trying to emanate, you trying to shine, you trying to get your light shine upon and stuff like that, you trying to show your spark, because everyone want to do that, but you turn that into like an ego, but you're not willing to go through that ego death, even though your ego ain't really dying, but it just means you willing to put it through the darkness. You willing to make it something behind the scenes, or make it, you know what I'm saying? You able to not emanate your light, and you let other people get the shine, get the example, be on the stage so they can perform, and you just know how to be in the background, aka that ego death. You know how to be in humility, or you know how to be humble. Even though I hate that word humble, but I'm just trying to utilize that as an example to make it make sense. You're not going to act as toxic, or you're not going to burn yourself out or crash yourself out about a dichotomy, and you ain't going to be trying to be in other people's business or try to burn a bridge because you want people to see you want people to basically see it how you see it all the time, when you should even be giving a fuck about that and just try to mind your business, try to create another way to make it hot, spicy, and enticing, to make it relatable, and then that's it. Because again, you're not the only motherfucker with their own worldview, with their own atmosphere, their own realm, their own world, their own way of how to cultivate things. So mass destruction is just an accumulation of mass production. So as you start to create, build, construct, and restore these things from how you see fit, you're going to run through these different pitfalls and these different hell pockets. And once you get caught into that pocket of hell, you know what I'm saying? You end up crashing yourself out, and that leads to energies like spiritual evaporation and stuff like that, to where God is going to take away that whole ability from you trying to create something for yourself and you making that a part of the world, and then he would just look at that as like a stain from you basically not learning how to do something in moderation, so to speak. So if you don't know how to take something of a high temperament and turn it into a low temperament, like a spring, summer, fall, winter, and it going through its natural transition, he just gonna X you out of it. I mean, it's gonna X you out of it. So God being an it, not a he, is just all possibilities. You made it possible for yourself, so it's never gonna get shown again, because it's like you trying to act like a deity, or you trying to get lost into an idol worship, or insecurity, or like a validation issue, so to speak. You want to get validated and praised based upon your way of how to go about something, yet you're not the only motherfucker on earth who can get validated and praised. So that's why it's important, like an animism, you appreciate all things of life instead of just getting lost into a dichotomy of that particular way of how to go about something. It don't mean act like a law and lost hippie or whatever, and you just get lost into anything. It's just important to have that equilibrium, believe in everything, but don't just be in anything. Because once you in it, you're gonna have a hard time trying to get out of it, or you don't see yourself outside of that circumstance. So you have to be willing to take everything that come with it, so to speak. So once you get lost into that dichotomy of trying to be seen in that one particular way, instead of having multiple different ways of how to create it, so you can keep on staying in that state of being, or you getting more of that energy of being into God's grace, not based upon the monetary gain, not based upon the money, not based upon the liquorship, not based upon the validation, not based upon the dichotomy, and you're able to do things in moderation. So from the universe working through you, not for you or against you, and that's really just God in general. God is just all possibilities, the fullest maximum potential of something at all levels. So it's like a mechanism or a process, and it's like you being part of the universe, so to speak. So if it's something that's more universal on a broad percentage scale, but you also learning, I mean, you also know how to make yourself a part of the universe, because we are already in our own atmosphere, in our own world, and have our own universe, but you're able to make it a part of the overall universe. That's like you doing something more for God, and it's going to cause more mass production, and you adding more spiritual ability for yourself, which is just adding more mental, emotional awareness for yourself to help yourself get out of certain pitfalls and situations, which leads to you being like a walking, cross-walking example of someone who can look at you as an inspiration to not get bogged down by the different uh by the different like hell pockets of life, by the different strifes and trials and tribulations and the down moments that come with life. But all those things are a part of it as well. So you have to learn how to go through that transition of things not always going your way. And you have to be willing to go through that sacrifice, or it going through a death. So it's not always going to be there. But how can you try to create a situation to where you're going to keep on going, even if you had to let go of certain things and certain people had to die, not certain people, but certain thought forms and feelings and emotions. So you end up appreciating that memory of what it was, but you always going to be trying to create a new event, or a new moment, or a new thought, or a new feeling, or a new experience, or a new observation, or a new outlook of how to go about something, instead of you getting stuck into that one way of how to go about something. It's kind of like nostalgia baiting, or it's kind of like you getting caught up in what you already done did, but what are you doing now to try to keep that going, so to speak. You getting caught up. It's like a peaked in high school type of energy. You only was that when you was in high school, but how you trying to add on to that to make it so you did something even more at a broader scale, not just what you did in high school. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a grown ass man, you're a grown ass woman, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you're a full blown adult. You could do that at like a broader scale. It don't got to be just contained in what you did in high school. You know what I'm saying? When you was young as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that. So it's like you going through that full spiritual maturity. But motherfuckers who think based upon mass destruction, or using weapons of mass destruction and harm while trying to project that outwardly, is just gonna create that first class ticket to hell, to where it's gonna cause more disaster and counterproductivity, in them not helping themselves, and them crashing themselves out, and God gonna look at that as you don't even want to you're not trying to be with all possibilities. You just want to make it possible in your degenerate particular way. So God is gonna put you in a situation to where you gonna end up being isolated away from everybody, since you ain't trying to be dependable on nobody's, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you learning how to go through different transitions and learn how to spiritually jump rope. So it's just not you getting caught up in that one pocket of how to go about something. You can have multiple pockets. So even if one of your pockets go away, you're able to create that talent or gift or that ability that you have in another way, in another pocket, and get fulfilled by that, instead of you holding on to the fact of, oh, it's not going based upon my expectation. Oh, it's not being fulfilled. Or I'm not getting that same feeling I got when I first did it because of this, then, and a third. You're not trying to find another spectrum or another outlook or another way how to go about it. You just want it done in that one track minded type of way. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you run away from trying to create a new organ. It's like you run away from you trying to make some uh new experience. It's like you run away from trying to create some new sentience or some new bacteria, so to speak. It's like you running away from that. You just want to be contained into your particular way of how you go about it. And if motherfuckers ain't trying to see it the way you see it and stuff like that, then to hell with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna end up burning that bridge because you can't get down with my particular way of how I get down. And not everyone is trying to get down how you get down. And you gotta understand that on God. Like, so yeah, life is about the ups and downs. It's about the whole thing. Once you get lost into the down, it's just gonna lead to demonic, degenerate, destruction. You know what I'm saying? Apocalypse. Everyone gotta get harmed. Everyone gotta, you know what I'm saying? Everyone gotta go through what I went through and stuff like that because I wasn't able to have no highs. I wasn't able to see the light. I wasn't able to shine and stuff like that. So everyone gotta go through this darkness. Everyone gotta go through this. everyone gotta go through this same trauma and stuff like that. Like you the only motherfucker out here who be going through shit. It's just everyone go through shit in their own particular way. If you go through something, a motherfucker probably gonna look at that like it's some little shit compared to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then if someone get that shine or get that light or get that money or make $1 million and stuff like that, to them, yeah, they accomplished getting $1 million, but inside they still feel like shit, despite the fact they got $1 million. So they're gonna end up blowing it on a whole bunch of different bullshit. And that's when the leader energies like you got $1 million, but you gonna act like Britney Spears and cut off all your hair and stuff like that and start cutting yourself. And you know what I'm saying? Or like you don't even feel like all that shit was worth it compared to a motherfucker to where they don't even got no money like that, yet they were still able to, even though they poor and stuff like that. That's why classism don't exist and stuff like that. Y'all just be trying to make up different dichotomies and things of that nature based upon y'all lineages and trying to make some type of superiority class system or whatever to make you feel like because you got more money in the external world that means something when you can't take none of that shit with you after you did. So it's not even really that. It's not even really that for real. But on an overall scale, yeah, we can see that in reality where a motherfucker who don't got any of those things, don't got $1 million, don't got all the cars and the clothes and the chains and stuff like that, yet they still happy about life and they still able to create and cultivate things for themselves, and they ain't letting that hold them back or hold them down, so to speak, or make them depressed and things of that nature, compared to a motherfucker, you done got it all, yet you still seem like you unsatisfied. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know on a higher percentage scale, it's something way more spiritual, mental, emotional, and you have to care about your well-being when it comes to that, instead of trying to inflict that harm or that poison or that death or something that's temporary onto other people. So it turns into that taker parasite. Oh, no one else can experience this thing and everything gotta be temporary for them and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just self-projection. It's just self-projection. But yeah. So once you do things for God or all possibilities or the universe, so something that's more universal and you're not getting caught up in that dichotomy, right? You're not gonna put yourself in a circumstance to where you get caught up in you just want people to give praise or validation or look at you like you some deity based upon your particular way of how to go about something. You still able to create a situation to where you're able to uncripple somebody or help somebody even if they don't got your mind or your outlook about how to go about something on a higher percentage scale. So it's making yourself part of all possibilities, not just trying to make it possible in your world and your particular way of how to go about something, yet everyone ain't a part of your world or got your own and got your mind, and not everyone's going to agree with how you get down when it comes to things on a higher percentage scale. So God is going to look at that as you not trying to take on all of life. You just want to try to take life or things of the universe and stuff like that to make it self-soothe or cater to you. It's really just being selfish. You doing something That's more self-serving instead of learning how to be of service. But it's learning how to balance between both. Sometimes you have to be selfish, and then sometimes you have to do something of service to also help others. Once you be too self-serving, it's going to lead to energies of being a narc and being too lost into your ego, and you get lost into your own light. But if you being too of service and stuff like that, that's you acting too people pleasing, and then you end up caring about other people's creations and other people's divination and other people's light, and you never even create your own to make it so you can be seen. You always put in and prioritizing other people's shit, and then you get lost into your own darkness, and then that's it.